Well, hello everyone. Hey, it is Karen McDermott Rolfe, Independent Advisor with Creative Memories, and I am back with my monthly technique layout and challenge. Today, I'm going to share a scrapbooking technique with you and then challenge all of you to use the technique to create your own layout. Take a photo of your layout and share it with me in my private group on Facebook for an entry into my August door prize drawing. While you're in my group, Karen's Croppers, go to the album section and look for the album titled Technique Tuesday number 73. Yes, that means this is the 73rd technique that is shared right there in Karen's Croppers. So what a great reference library for you. I'm also creating printable handouts for this year's technique layouts, and you can find those printable handouts on my blog at karencrops.com. You can also see other layouts that I create and information about my events. And then I so appreciate all of your purchases through my Creative Memories website link at creativememories.com/user/Karen, and it's Karen with the Y. And don't forget that I offer that generous customer rewards program. And right now I have a super cute exclusive set of materials that I am using as this quarter's customer rewards gift. So make sure when you place your orders, you're automatically going to be enrolled into my customer rewards program. And then when you place orders, I always send a thank you email. Make sure to open up that thank you email because I share a project recipe with you. And then I share information also about that customer rewards program and how to claim your gifts that you get from me. All right, so let's take a look at the layout and the technique that I'm going to share today. This is a really easy technique, you guys. You're going to love it. You're going to be able to whip out some very beautiful and fast layouts using this technique. There's nothing really complicated about it. The most complicated thing will be selecting your paper, because what we're going to do is we're going to cut about a 4-inch strip of designer paper. And I'm going to recommend that you use a tonal paper. So it has a tonal design on both the front and the back. So that is the most complicated part, is to find that sheet of paper that's tonal on both sides, and that you're going to like the colors. Because after we punch the border, we're going to fold it over and we'll use the back side and we're going to layer those borders. So you can see here on my sample layout how I've done that and how beautiful it looks with our scalloped crochet border punch. So this was a border punch that came out earlier this summer, and it did sell out really quickly. So that I'm hoping, since it sold out, that means that many of you were able to purchase this beautiful punch. I know I still have some left in my inventory, so if you're interested, please reach out to me and I can get you set up with this. It's a really lovely punch. We've had some punches, border punches, that are similar to this in the past. So you can take a look at some of those lacy kind of border punches we had. It would work beautifully with this technique, okay? As you can see here. And then for this sample layout, I used the Noteworthy Days collection. This was our annual collection that Creative Memories is keeping in stock all year long. And it's a great neutral collection that you can mix and match with many other collections. And since this was a kind of a pretty page here, I did add some of our Floral Essentials flower embellishments. And you can see how these are just beautiful, beautiful flower and leaf shapes here. And they come in a variety of different colors. This is from the blue flowers. There's also, red, yellow, orange, teal. So make sure to check out those floral essentials, because again, these are an item that you can mix and match and that are going to coordinate beautifully with so many of our collections. I took one of the variety mats here from the Noteworthy Days and I cut it down, because I really like this saying, these are the good old days. I know when my husband and I, when we're out to eat, or even if we're having a cocktail on our deck and we do a little, we always like to clink our glasses and, we'll say, these are the good days, for the good days. These are good days. So it's kind of the good old days. And then we have a place here for journaling. So let's go ahead and make a new version of this using some different materials and a different border punch. So for this layout, I'm going to use the Sun Soaked collection. I'm going to use this designer sheet as my background. And then I have this tonal sheet that I'm going to use for my border. So we have the blue tonal pattern and the yellow tonal pattern on the back. And this time I'm going to use a different punch. This is the Bubble Scallop border punch, Bubble Scallop. This punch too came out earlier this summer with the Poolside collection, and this one also sold out quickly. So we see that with some of our punches and cartridges. We know that when Creative Memories launches one that's really popular, it has a lot of appeal, they can sell out quickly. So kind of the the rule of thumb with all of our product launches is, if you really love it, it's best to order it sooner than later. Order it as soon as you can, because we never know how quickly they will sell out. On occasion, Creative Memories will do a reorder, but that is not common, okay? I mean, if an item like sold out within the first day or two of launch, that would be a good indication that Creative Memories might perhaps do a reorder. But again, it's nothing that we can count on. And then, if you miss out on them, make sure you always reach out to your advisor, reach out to me, because many of us carry an inventory at our homes, and we can help you find some of these items that you miss out on. And then if you just can't find it at all, don't fret, don't worry, because we know that something great will be coming out right around the corner, right? So let's create here our border. So I'm going to take the tonal sheet of paper and my 12-inch trimmer, and I decided I'm going to use this darker portion of the blue. I thought it kind of coordinated better with the background paper than the light shades. So I'm going to cut off a 4-inch piece from the top. I didn't quite get it right there. Kind of looks like I have a little piece of cardstock stuck there. That could have been the reason. So that was a 4-inch piece. 4 inches is a pretty good rule of thumb, I believe. I might have done a little bit wider for the scallop one. So I kind of do recommend that you have some scrap paper, punch your borders, and see what the measurement is going to work best, because some are a little wider than the others. This one, it looks about the same, really, in the width. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to punch both of the long ends using the Bubble Scallop border punch. I'm going to do my pattern matching. Okay, so let me just walk you through that if you haven't used our border punches before. On the face of the punch, you see there's 2 black lines. You can start at either one of those, and you're just going to put the edge of your paper so it's flush there with the black line. So see right there, that's where the top there of my paper is on that black line. I'm going to punch once, and then I'm going to pull the paper through, and I'm going to pattern match. So I'm going to match the pattern that was punched with the pattern that's imprinted there on the tray of the punch. And when it overlaps, there we go, see how it's overlapped now? That's when I make my next punch. And then I just continue to pull it through, matching those patterns and punching. Now the important thing to remember here is that as you do this, you want to keep your paper piece flush against this edge of the tray. See this back edge? You want it all the way flush there too. And it's going to give you a straight, even punch. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch out my blades. We know that we've got a great selection here of decorative blades that go with our 12-inch trimmer. I used the stamping blade for last month's Technique Layout and Challenge. So if you haven't seen that one yet, make sure to take a look at that video. And now this time today, I'm going to be using our scoring blade. And it's really easy to swap out our blades. You just open the cover on the blade housing unit, pull it out, and put it in. And all of our blades are encased in this nice case, and there's no blade sticking out to get cut on. So it's really a nice feature too. So we put it in, close the lid, and then when we apply the pressure, that presses the blade down and comes out. The blade will poke out now. See if I'm putting pressure on this little white part. See how the blade pokes out now? Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to score it, and I'm not going to be real precise here, but I'm just looking at the punched pattern, and I want to score it right along, you know, that right past that, because that's where I'm going to fold at. And by scoring it, I'm going to be able to get a nice even fold. So I always recommend, you know, if you're able to use that scoring blade when you're going to fold, to try that. So you can see here where I've scored this. It's kind of right underneath where that pattern ended. Okay. So we have our border, and now we have a choice. We can fold it this way, have the blue shade be the dominant color and the yellow to be the little bit less of the yellow showing, or we could fold it the other way and have the yellow more dominant and the blue. I think I'm going to use that yellow more as an accent, and I'm going to fold it this way. Now I'm going to use our repositional tape to tape it down. This repositional tape, if you guys have, if there's someone out there who hasn't used our adhesive yet, or our repositional adhesive especially, make sure to check this out. This is a really great item. It's an item that many of us cannot scrapbook without. The tape comes out in clear little dots, and it's really great for an intricate pattern such as this, because we have all these little bubbles punched, right? And we need to adhere around them. Whereas if you're using a regular adhesive, it'd be really hard. You know, you could use a glue adhesive like our glue pen that Creative Memories has. But again, you know, that glue pen can be a little messy. It could leave some marks where you don't want it. So the repositional is really nice. And if any kind of hangs over the edge where you don't want it, you can kind of see some shiny adhesive sticking out, you just rub it, it balls up, and then you just brush it away off your table. And so I'm just going to rub over these little bubbles. Now I see where there's some excess of the repositional adhesive sticking out. I'm going to rub those away. And I also see that I got some on my background sheet. So I'm just going to rub those off right now too. So you can see how nicely that rubs off. And then since the adhesive is repositional, that means when you place it down and maybe you make an error, and you can do what I often do, and that will be I will adhere my border strips a little bit crooked and I need to do an adjustment and pull it up. It will come up rather easily because it's the repositional. And then I just press it back down and it will hold it. Don't be afraid of, you know, some might be afraid of thinking since this is repositional adhesive that it's not a permanent adhesive. Now, Creative Memories does not label it as permanent because it's repositional, right? But over time, it's going to become more tacky instead of less tacky. So a couple months from now, it will be very hard to pull this off the paper. You could kind of still do it, but it will be more difficult. So say there, put it down, and I decided, oh, I want to move it down, or it's crooked. Look at how easily it pulls up, and you could do that. Okay. And then again, I'm going to just rub out any of the clear little dots that are still showing. And then I've got my, you know, folded layered border here. So just a quick and easy border technique for you guys. So experiment with your border punches. We have an awful lot of border punches that will work work well with. And like I said, I just recommend using the tonal paper on both sides, and it's great when we have some contrast like that, so it shows up really well. You know, if you look at both of my layouts here, I get some great contrast here with the darker blue popping through this teal or turquoise color, so I can see the pattern really nicely. You really want that pattern to show up. And then the background paper that I chose, this light color, you see how well that shows up through the punched blue. So I'm getting really great contrast and great pattern here with these paper selections. And the same with this layout also. The blue, the turquoise, they're showing through really well. So to finish this layout, I thought I would use some little 4x4 bright white photo mats. I have this again is all from the Sun Soaked collection. I have a little journaling box that was an embellishment piece. I have a toy title. I've just got a layer here, an embellishment with that title. And I'm just kind of doing my arranging and spacing right now before I started hearing everything. I might go just up like this. I have a little fish over there, and let's see, I have a dolphin. Let me maybe turn this one upside down. Okay, super easy, quick layout for you guys. Great technique. We're going to get a lot of variation in the layouts that are going to be shared there in my Facebook group, Karen's Croppers. Go to Karen's Croppers, look for the album section, and add your layout photo to the album titled Technique Tuesdays 73 to get into that monthly door prize drawing of mine. So I cannot wait to see what you guys start creating. So we're going to get a great variety of punches that you're going to be using, a great variety of paper, and we're going to see a lot of great ideas being shared there in Karen's Croppers. And then to get the printable handout for this layout, please go to my blog, karencrops.com, and you can download that. And while you're there at my blog, scroll through, you can find the handouts from all of my Technique Tuesday layouts from this year, from 2025, along with some other layouts and information. So as far as information to share with you this month, you know what's coming up, okay? It's back to school time. So this kind of, I used to always say in the old days, some of us would take a little bit of a break from scrapbooking and in the summer, and then we'd get back at it when the kids go back to school. So it was kind of back to school, back to scrapping. And then the beginning of the fall scrapbooking season. And that is Croptoberfest time, right? So Croptoberfest time will be coming up. And at the end of the month, end of August, Creative Memories will be releasing this year's Croptoberfest materials. I'm going to be able to get a sneak peek at that this week here, and I'm sure I've already saw some little pieces of it a couple months ago on the Creative Memories Advisor incentive trip. So I know it's going to be a beautiful, wonderful collection. I'm going to use the collection to make some of my own exclusive layouts and have my own virtual Croptoberfest event that you're all invited to attend. So I'll be sharing registration information for that in Karen's Croppers and also on my blog, karencrops.com. And probably my next technique video in September, I'll have more information. And as I'm talking here and I'm looking down as I compare these two layouts, I've noticed that my border here is way more chunky, way wider on this left layout than this one. And remember, we used a 4-inch piece of paper here. So obviously I must have used a wider one for this crocheted scallop. So that looks like about 3 1/4 plus 1 1.5 inches. So that would be 4 1/4, 4 3/4. This might be a 4 3/4 inch piece that I folded over to give it a little bit more, to give it more width. Okay, so again, experiment with those widths with your scrap papers before you start to create your layouts. And I cannot wait to see your versions. All right, everybody, thanks so much for visiting with me this month, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.